Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Thunder's Mark Daigneault, crucial Shai Gilgeous-Alexander decision led to 24-0 run. Oklahoma City Thunder head coach Mark Daigneault watched All-Star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander help erase a 21-point deficit with an incredible 24-0 fourth-quarter run that led to a 115-101 victory against the Miami Heat. In a game where the Thunder gave up 36 points in the paint in the first half without starting power forward Chet Holmgren playing due to rest, Oklahoma City bounced back with a dominating second half. The Thunder All-Star Jalen Williams helped trim their deficit to 10 before entering the fourth quarter. Then, Gilgeous-Alexander took the mantle in the final frame, triggering a 24-0 run that held the Heat scoreless for over 6 minutes. However, it was a conversation between SGA and Thunder head coach Mark Daigneault that led to the decision for the All-Star point guard to start the fourth quarter. He had asked me midway through the third if I wanted to stagger the rotation, which is me come out instead of playing more in the third and play the whole fourth, Gilgeous-Alexander said. The way the game was going, the way Dub was playing, I figured it would be a good opportunity to try. And he pulled the trigger, and it worked. Dub had it going, carried the load, and then, I was fresh and able to play the whole fourth. Williams went 6-for-9 in the third quarter, scoring 8 of his 18 points in the frame. Gilgeous-Alexander discussed what led to the Thunder's incredible fourth-quarter display of offense. Just keep stacking possessions, keep getting stops, most importantly, that's what allows you to win, Gilgeous-Alexander said. But when you're playing from behind, you need stops, or the game's over. So, that was like my focal point, and we did a really good job of stringing together stops to start the fourth. And that's what gave us a chance to come back and win. The Thunder outscored the Heat 32-8 in the fourth quarter. Gilgeous-Alexander scored 14 of his game-high 32 points. He also finished with 9 assists, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals. The Thunder scored a franchise-record 27 threes in their 137-101 blowout win against the Pelicans. Thunder All-Star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's 31 points led the charge. Gilgeous-Alexander finished with 4 threes, tying Alex Caruso and Aaron Wiggins for most threes made en route to a historic shooting display. Thunder All-Star Jalen Williams and Kenrich Williams drained 3, and Chet Holmgren, Lu Dort, and first-round rookie Dillon Jones each scored 2. The Thunder extended their winning streak to 7. There's a great story to it. Pat Riley reveals where his three-peat trademark revenues wind up. Pat Riley's three-peat trademarks could have led to the Miami Heat president getting a sizable payday if the Kansas City Chiefs had won their third consecutive Super Bowl. Turns out, the Basketball Hall of Famer actually doesn't keep that money. Riley said he devotes his share of revenues gleaned from three-peat usage, he's had trademarks on that term for about 35 years, to various charitable organizations. Of particular importance to Riley and his wife, Chris Riley, are groups that help military veterans and their families, including the Special Operations Warrior Foundation in Tampa, Florida. Riley has said the donations he and the Heat make to veterans groups are very minor in comparison to what they deserve. These are very patriotic, brave and proud people, Riley said Wednesday. What they do in serving our country to keep us safe is one of the most courageous sacrifices an American can offer. Riley and the Heat created what the team has called the Homestrong Initiative 20 years ago, and the team has routinely welcomed returning soldiers and first responders to Miami games over those 2 decades, plus further honor them with an on-court pregame ceremony. Riley also took the team's training camp in 2010 to military bases in Northwest Florida. The Special Operations Warrior Foundation, which has received $200,000 in recent years from Riley and his wife, plus another $100,000 that a Heat donor earmarked to the charity of Riley's choice, honors fallen soldiers and Medal of Honor recipients with grants for education as part of what it calls a cradle-to-career plan that backs the children of those soldiers from preschool through college. It also provides financial grants to severely combat wounded, ill, and injured special operations soldiers in need of medical care. Riley has owned multiple three-peat trademarks since beginning to file for them in the late 1980s, when the Los Angeles Lakers, who he was coaching at that time, were seeking 3 consecutive NBA titles. Riley struck a deal with the Chiefs on three-peat usage, just in case Kansas City had won its 3rd straight Super Bowl. The Chiefs lost to Philadelphia 40-22 on Sunday, ending the three-peat bid. Heat coach Erik Spoelstra and some players half-seriously said before the Super Bowl that they were rooting for the Chiefs, with hopes that Riley would gift the team with some wine. But Spoelstra added that there is obviously a deeper meaning, one that Riley has kept largely private. Kevin Durant trade to Heat was there to be done, but Miami pulled the plug, per report. As the dust continues to settle on arguably the wildest trade deadline in NBA history, details about how all of these big deals did, or didn't, come to fruition are quickly emerging. No, this isn't about how or why the Dallas Mavericks traded Luka Doncic to the Lakers. You've heard enough about that, and you're sure to hear a lot more. The 2025 NBA trade deadline was crazy, and we may never see another like it. Bill Ryder is all about what would have been the second craziest trade of that deadline, Jimmy Butler for Kevin Durant, who, according to ESPN's Brian Windhorst and Ramona Shelburne, signed a trade with the Heat, who in turn were unwilling to mortgage their future by paying the steep price Phoenix sought. Why Durant was cool with going to Miami but not the Warriors, who also reportedly have a deal in place to bring him back to the Bay Area until Durant hits it big, has been a matter of much speculation. But ultimately, you can understand his reluctance, given all the criticism he got for going there the first time and how things ended with Draymond Green. The perception would have been different this time around. In 2016, it was all about Durant, who had just lost to the Warriors in the conference finals, needing Curry. This time, it was all about Curry needing him desperately. He could have been a savior of sorts, and seemingly would have had a better shot at a 3rd championship with the Warriors than the Heat did. The fact that Durant was willing to sign a deal with Miami probably speaks to his continued drive to prove he can win a championship outside of Curry's ecosystem, but these guys are human. Regular things like the fact that he likes living in Arizona, and maybe he liked living in Miami more than he did in the Bay Area. Or is he at a different point in his life and career? It's understandable enough. The real question is, should Miami have done this? Who knows what the final tally of a Durant trade would have looked like, but it certainly would have been steep. Durant with Bam Adebayo, Tyler Herro, and Erik Spoelstra is certainly a formidable package, but Durant is 36 and on the books for just under $55 million next season. So would the Heat have been almost obligated to sign him beyond 2026, potentially into his 40s, just to justify all they had to give up to get him? These are tough questions, and it seems the Heat weren't ready to have to answer them. It was probably the smart move. As tempting as I'm sure it was to trade for Durant, who is still one of the best players in the world, if it didn't, the Heat probably still would have fallen short of a title shot, though we've all made the mistake of holding back their playoff potential before. Butler has always been the one to lift them above their means. It's not impossible that Durant could have done the same. And you, fan? What do you think of Kevin Durant's situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.